प्रथमं वक्रतुण्डं च एकदन्तं द्वितीयकं तृतीयं कृष्णपिङ्गाक्षं गजवक्त्रं चतुर्थकं लम्बोदरं पञ्चमं च षष्ठं विकटमेव च सप्तमं विघ्नराजेन्द्रं धूम्रवर्णं तथाष्टमं नवमं बालचन्द्रं च दशमं तु विनायकम् एकादशं गणपतिं द्वादशं तु गजाननम् द्वादशैतानि नामानि त्रिसन्ध्ययः पठे नरः न च विघ्नभयं तस्य सर्वसिद्धिकरं प्रभो।
शस्य श्यामला मातरं वन्दे मातरं वन्दे मातरं।
मेक इन इंडिया, आइए हिंदुस्तान में निर्माण कीजिए। दुनिया के किसी भी देश में जाकर के बेचिए, लेकिन निर्माण यहाँ कीजिए, मैन्युफैक्चर यहाँ कीजिए। हमारे पास स्किल है, टैलेंट है, डिसिप्लिन है, शिक्षा गुजरने का इरादा है। हम विश्व को एक सानुकूल अवसर देना चाहते हैं। चाहिए मेक इन इंडिया, और हम विश्व को कहें इलेक्ट्रिकल से लेकर के इलेक्ट्रॉनिक तक कम मेक इन इंडिया, केमिकल्स से लेकर के फार्मास्यूटिकल तक कम मेक इन इंडिया, ऑटोमोबाइल से लेकर के एग्रो वैल्यूएशन तक कम मेक इन इंडिया, पेपर हो या प्लास्टिक कम मेक इन इंडिया। ताकत है हमारे देश में।
हमारे प्रोडक्ट्स थे वो पहले बाहर से ही आ रहे थे, और जब से ये अभियान शुरू हुआ है मेक इन इंडिया, उसके बाद से तो बहुत सारी जितनी भी चीज़ें हैं वो सारी की सारी हमारे इंडिया में ही बन रही है, और उससे बहुत फ़ायदा हो रहा है। हमारी जितने भी यूथ है ना, सबको एम्प्लॉयमेंट भी मिल रही है। हाँ,
योग हमारी पुरातन पारंपरिक
अमूल्य देन है। योग मन व शरीर, विचार व कर्म, संयम व उपलब्धि की एकात्मता का तथा मानव व प्रकृति के बीच सामंजस्य का मूर्त रूप है।
There's lots to take from yoga. It has been shown that yoga can revert back your insulin resistance.
आज के इस प्रॉब्लम का, डायबिटीज का हो, हाइपरटेंशन का हो, जो भी लाइफस्टाइल से बीमारियां उत्पन्न हो रही है, उसका समाधान योगिक जीवन शैली में है।
In 2050, it is going to become the diabetic capital of the world. It is quite apt and ideal that S. Vyasa has taken up the movement of Stop Diabetic movement.
Stop Diabetic movement is one of the largest experiments in the country.
If only we practice slow breathing, that is called technically pranayama, there will be no ailment. We have evolved certain small asanas and postures to remove all ailments.
Universities, they just have academic programs and research programs. It is okay, good. But research activity must go to that level of experience and experiments. For experimentation, it is not only that lab within 4 walls. Our Brahmanda and Pendanda, that is the real lab for us who is overseas Yoga University. In that context, we have that unique feature of conducting various health-related programs all over India, outside and inside.
गुणशरीराय गुणमण्डिताय गुणेशानाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय
Dr. T.J. Kamalanabhan, Dr. Subramanya Pailur, and Wing Commander Venkatesh, Director of DSJBS, to kindly occupy their seats on the dais. Registrar DSU to kindly occupy his seat on the dais. C. Sharma, Provost, Dayanand Sagar University, and Director for Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering and Dayanand Sagar Academy of Technology and Management, to kindly welcome the gathering.
Today's national conference is on Make in India ecosystems towards Indian ethos, sustainability and inclusive growth. This has been the national mandate and national mission, and all of us have to work together to converge to achieve the target. We have with us Swami Sarvasthananda, Adhyaksh Ramakrishna Ashram, Rajkot. Swamiji, we wholeheartedly welcome you on behalf of Dayanand Sagar institutions. Dr. Nagendra Guruji, Chancellor S. Vyasa University, this year's Padma Shri awardee, please give a big hand. We have a memorandum of understanding with S. Vyasa University. We wish to make this conference, national conference on Make in India true, in association with S. Vyasa University. Sir, on behalf of Dayanand Sagar institutions, we wholeheartedly welcome you, sir. We have another luminary, a national professor, Dr. Akhilesh from Indian Institute of Science. Sir, we wholeheartedly welcome you on behalf of Dayanand Sagar institutions. Our principal, needless to mention, Dr. Gopal Reddy, who is always encouraging and helping the institutions. We welcome you. Dr. Kamalanaban from IIT Madras, he is with us. Sir, we wholeheartedly welcome you. We have with us Dr. Joy Mukhopadhyaya, Senior Consultant. Sir, thank you for gracing this occasion and we welcome you. Dr. Subramanya Pailur, Registrar, S. Vyasa University. Thanks for gracing, sir. We welcome you for this function. We welcome Wing Commander Venkatesh. Dr. Rajsimha, Registrar, Dayanand Sagar University. We have with us Dr. C.P.S. Prakash, who is really striving hard to bring up Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, doing wonderful work both in academics and administration. We welcome you, Dr. Prakash. We welcome Dr. Lata Krishnan, who is the main of this national conference on Make in India. She has struggled very hard since 3 months to make this as a reality. Madam, we wholeheartedly welcome you and also congratulate you for your single-handed effort. Thank you. I welcome all the participants, guests who have assembled here. Welcome one and all. Thank you very much.
On behalf of Dayanand Sagar institutions, I welcome our Provost, Dr. S.C. Sharma, to this August gathering. The conference.
Mrityu
Excuse me, 7 seconds.
I now request Dr. Lata Krishnan, Organizing Secretary for the conference and Director, MBA Bangalore University Program, to kindly address the distinguished audience about the conference.
Good morning to one and all present today. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times, said Niccolo Machiavelli. India, with its vast and diverse population, a sizable and growing domestic demand, and an innate sense of enterprise, has long held the potential of evolving as a manufacturing leader. It is now the time to address the fundamental hurdles that have held it back. As a first step, India needs to revive its manufacturing activity by addressing obstacles across infrastructure, labor reforms, and the ease of doing business. Indian Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi ji's vision of Make in India could not have come in at a more opportune time. The global economy is on the path to gradual yet definite recovery. The overall mode is one of development and progress. To achieve a manufacturing-led transformation, India would need to undertake a well-planned, a structural approach. Even as we go about fixing the basic factors around infrastructure, the ease of doing business in our country and related government policies, there is a need to actively plan for and pursue long-term goals of fostering technology and innovation. The roadmap to global leadership requires a structural approach across 3 levels. 1, revive manufacturing sector. 2, gain global competitiveness. 3, claim global leadership. Today, we inaugurate the National Conference on Make in India Ecosystem towards Indian ethos, sustainability, and inclusive growth. The theme of the conference reflects the importance of Make in India ecosystem in the current global scenario, with management and technological advancement in every sphere of activity. Make in India initiative is to create quality education through inclusive growth, enhancing livelihood and empowerment of a larger section of the society. To achieve this, the higher education system should be robust and useful to attract investment, and the government should aggressively engage with industry to invest in existing institutions in setting up new incubation centers and develop new knowledge partners. The vision of the conference is to impart quality management education, which focuses on research and innovation in creating Make in India ecosystem. The expected outcome of the conference is to provide an environment that enhances creativity, innovation, quality in pursuit of industrial excellence, to nurture Indian ethos through yoga and meditation in order to transform individuals as responsible leaders and entrepreneurs, to train the students to be changing economic scenario and make them understand the importance of sustainability initiative and inclusive growth. This conference is in collaboration with S. Vyasa University. Over the years, S. Vyasa has been substantiating scientific validation through research. They have successfully published around 300 research papers which have all been indexed in PubMed or PubLine and Cyclist and PsycInfo. S. Vyasa has carried itself as a center of advanced research in yoga and neurophysiological accredited by the Indian Council of Medical Research. It's a proud moment for us to be associated with S. Vyasa University. Around 100 colleges across Karnataka are participating in this conference. 50 research scholars from Bangalore University and 40 research scholars from S. Vyasa University are participating and presenting papers. We have received around 50 research articles on the theme on TQM, entrepreneurship and strategic alliances, impact on Indian ethos and Make in India initiative, and sustainability initiative and inclusive growth. The speakers for both the plenary sessions are renowned academician from the premier educational institution, Fulbright Fellow from the University of Florida, the CEOs and the managing directors of well-established companies, senior directors, general managers and IT consultants from MNCs who can throw light on Make in India ecosystem towards entrepreneurship, creativity, Indian ethos and global convergence. In fact, today's newspaper report states that Mr. N.R. Narayan Murthy, the co-founder of Infosys, recommending that 10,000 Indian students should go to US to do PhDs in important areas in STEM education, the science, technology, engineering and math, every year to foster innovation and creativity in industrial excellence in India. To conclude, I would like to quote Robert Frost, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep. I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep." So let us all actively participate so that the Make in India vision of our Prime Ministers would be a grand success. This will be an excellent tribute to our martyrs who laid down their lives for India's independence. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request our chief guest, Professor H.R. Nagendra, Chancellor, S. Vyasa Yoga University, to kindly address the gathering.
नमः श्री अतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित् सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे तापहारिणे तापहारिणे। Congratulations, Sharma ji, Dr. Lata, for organizing this wonderful conference, which is the need of the hour today in the country and also the world over. Make in India is the need, particularly in India, and it has started from universities. What characterizes this new move which our Prime Minister has launched is to use our creative and analytical dimensions that we all have, not towards only research papers or publication of research papers, but to bring about very useful components to the society, innovative dimensions, so that it will be useful to the people at large and in the country. Unfortunately, in our education system, we have been amassing a lot of information, and theory has grown so much, and at the practical level, hardly there has been any innovations or the achievements. Therefore, a new direction has to come in education system. For example, when I completed my doctorate in mechanical engineering, I was so poor. If something goes wrong in my scooter, I don't know how to correct it. That are the condition. You could imagine, So it is necessary that we should spend time to see that we work with our hands, practical aspects, use all of our brilliance, creativity, everything to develop these dimensions. When you look at in United States, for example, then the people may not be big research scholars, but they know how to deal with monitoring. Therefore, they don't go into higher education at all, and they operate at all different levels. Therefore, this is the new direction that our Prime Minister has given by the big launch of Make in India. At the mind level, there are essentially two features. One is to develop our power of analysis, discrimination, go deep into the subject and unraveling the mysteries of nature. This is very necessary for research, and this is what we have been doing, unraveling the mysteries of this entire physical universe. That is development of IQ, development of intelligence, what we call as the analytical power, discrimination power, and deep analysis, scientific research. But there is a second dimension, that is the dimension of creativity. Navanamon buddhi. And that is the second dimension of the mind which we have to develop. And it is this dimension of creativity that is very necessary for technology, for engineering. For science, going deep into the subject, the IQ is necessary. For technology, applications of this understanding to bring about innovative Make in India, the creativity dimension has to be brought forth. And yoga developed both these dimensions. According to the definition of yoga, Patanjali said, Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is to gain mastery over the mind. In mastery over mind, you have one side, you should know how to go deep into the subject. Faster mind, quicker mind, sharper mind, brilliant mind, dynamic mind. One side. The other dimension is to calm down the mind, silence the mind, tranquil the mind, and go deeper and deeper into your inner source. Unfortunately, whole of our education system has only one component that has been developed. We all have become very brilliant, sharp, intelligent, dynamic, But the second dimension of keeping quiet, calm, silent, tranquil has been totally neglected, Because we thought it was all laziness, lethargy, drowsiness, sleepiness. But for the first time in the history, our Mahesh Yogi, he brought out the dimension that this silencing of the mind, tranquiling of the mind with wakeful consciousness is not laziness, it is not drowsiness, it is not sleepiness, it is not tamas. It is what you call as sattva, in which you have all the brilliant sharpness, intelligence on one side. At the same time, it has all the higher dimensions which can fructify. It is something like giving deep rest to the system, so that you will be in full dynamic activity in the next thing. It is like charging up the battery, which gets discharged every day. And therefore, every day we must learn how to calm down the mind, silence the mind. Therefore, these are the two dimensions to gain mastery over the mind. And contained in this dimension of silencing the mind is the blossoming of our entire personality, the blossoming of the analytical power, the discrimination power, the brilliance on one side, and the creative power. If modern brainstorming sessions in technology develop our creative power, yoga tells us that you go deep into your inner silence, and from there emerges all creativity. And that as you go deeper and deeper into what we call the Vijnanamaya Kosha, all knowledge is enshrined in Vijnanamaya Kosha. In one of the Upanishad, that student comes and asks, Sir, I have learnt many vidyas. Shatram janami. 64 types of vidyas I have learned, but I am not satisfied. Can you tell me something by knowing which I know everything in the universe? Kintum vignatam, sarvam vignatam bhavati iti. Can you tell me something? It's so amazing. Is it ever possible? Then the teacher says, yes. We have two types of education. Dve vidye veditavye parachaiva aparacha. Aparavidya is what all we are learning, bread earning education and all other dimensions, And what is the second dimension? The paravidya. Paravidya is the actual process of transformation. Yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate, it is said. A process by which you go deeper and deeper to the very source from where all thoughts emerge. Go to the source from where all creativity, brilliance, sharpness, intelligence, everything emerges. And that is called the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And that is the storehouse of all knowledge. And that knowledge is what we have to acquire. This is the basic dimension that is needed in all our education system. And therefore, yoga has to be brought into our education system to bring about this totality of growth. Fortunately today, the Government of India, the Ministry of HRD, has now come forward to introduce yoga at the school level in the beginning of that wonderful International Day of Yoga, in which 244 countries celebrated that function. 30 crores of people practiced that common protocol that we developed. It was a fantastic thing that happened. But then our PM had told that it not be limited only a one-day function, it should get into our education system. This is what Swami Vivekananda has given us the direction. Therefore, the NCT, National Council of Teacher Educators, we train 14 lakh teacher educators every year in our country. Yoga has been made compulsory. NCRT, the National Council of Education, Research and Training, has introduced yoga from class 6 onwards up to 12. Then the need for bringing yoga into the higher education. The recent development is that the UGC chairman, the NCT director, the NAC director, and also the ASCT chairman, they were all with us in our Shanti campus on 2nd January, and Puti Rani herself was chairing the session, and the objective is to see how we can bring yoga into the higher education system. And about 16 vice chancellors from the central universities were called, and our Sharmaji also was there, the provost of this university, as to how yoga can be brought into the higher education university system. And what is the purpose of that? We have to bring that man-making education, nation-building education. And it should not just be information, cramming up of information in the brain, as Swami Vivekananda said. So this aspect has to be brought forth. For that, yoga has to be brought forth. But many people have weird notions about yoga. Yoga is some sort of a physical exercise. That's how yoga has been projected all over. But yoga is a science of holistic living. It helps man to raise himself from our normal level to become great, super divine human beings and reach that perfection itself. That is the goal of yoga. Therefore, this is the basic pravidya that has to be brought forth. And then we have the engineering. In all aspects of engineering and technology we can have, and then the Make in India will become a very successful project. Knowing this, our Prime Minister has brought out this yoga to be introduced at the higher education, and we are all working to develop a suitable syllabus to be brought in every college, engineering, science, and also BA, BSc, BCom, and in medical education, everywhere we want to bring in yoga, and that is the dimension. But what type of yoga? Suited to you, which helps you to develop in total personality, physical, mental, emotional, intellectual. You should become healthier day by day and become stress-free day by day and move towards that perfection with highest creativity, highest intellectual brilliance and grandeur. That is the basic training that we need to do. That is called the man-making education, which has to be brought forth. We are forming the syllabus. We have got our next meeting on 6th of this month, February, in UGC, and all the top experts have been brought forth, and we are going to formulate the syllabus, and our HRD ministry is very, very keen that should start from this session itself, from August itself, and that is the move that the government is taking. so that Make in India has to be embellished and added on and augmented with the basic training modalities of development of our analytical power, creative power and technological superpower, which is very unique to India. That could be the greatest contribution of India to world thought and culture, and all universities and all over the world can start imbibing this dimension as the added on dimension to just the bread earning education that we are getting. And in this sense, this conference is very, very vital, very important, the need of the hour, and I congratulate Lataji, Sharmaji and all the wonderful people who have joined here to make this a reality in thing. And I am so happy that Swami Saraswatananji has come, and he is the representative of Ramakrishna, Sharadama and Vivekananda movement in the country. And Swami Vivekananda brought this yoga to the United States in 1893. You know the date? 9/11. 9/11 acquired a new connotation after 180 years the world over. And Swami Vivekananda brought India to the highest levels in one word, brothers and sisters of America. And that is the one that Swamiji represents. And we are very, very grateful and pronounced to you, Swamiji, for coming here, and the right person to come here and give your blessings to this wonderful conference that we both have started organizing here. Our Dhanand Sagar University and our Swami Vivekananda Yoga Sultan University joined together to bring this dimension of yoga into the management system to about this Make in India ecosystem. Once again, I congratulate all of you for participating and hope that this day-long program, which will be headed by a lot of top researchers, including like Professor Akhilesh, one of the top post-management experts in our country, who has recently become the Chancellor of the Rajiv Gandhi Institute of Petroleum Technology, to bring in this new dimension and all of this. I am very, very happy that this thing has come forward, and you will all get highly educated and into the yoga dimension one side, and the latest trends in management as to how we have to tailor-make the management dimension to bring about this innovation and make it.
Thank you, sir. Before we proceed, I request Dr. Janardhan, Senior Executive Vice President for Dhanand Sagar Institutions and Pro Vice Chancellor for Dhanand Sagar University, to kindly join us on the dais. Sir, on behalf of Dhanand Sagar Institutions, I extend a very warm welcome to you and request you to accept this bouquet as a token of our appreciation. I now request our guest of honor, Swami Saraswatananda, President Ramakrishna Ashram, Rajkot, to kindly address the gathering.
I begin with a Sanskrit prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Honorable Dr. Nagendra ji, Dr. Sharma, Dr. Akhilesh, Dr. Lata, and all the dignitaries on the dais, all the delegates to this wonderful conference on Make in India ecosystem towards Indian ethos, sustainability and inclusive growth. At the outset, I would like to tender my apologies to speak in a language which is nothing to do with the Indian ethos. I am sorry, for practical difficulties I have to speak in this language. I would have been very happy to speak in Sanskrit, but it's difficult both for me and for you to understand. It's a very sad part of our history. Because when we speak of Make in India, you know, a few days ago, Gujarat Technological University organized a similar seminar, and all the models were studied. The chairman of AICTE, Dr. Anil Sahasrabuddhe, was also present, And this initiative has been taken very seriously by all the organizations, institutions of India and all the industries also, the industrial associations like CII and all. But this seminar is very important because here it is not only Make in India, but very, very importantly, the topic Indian ethos has been added, sustainability has been added, and inclusive growth. All these three things were discussed in that seminar, and we compared the Make in China model, Make in Europe, Germany, Japan. There are so many countries which had their own model and who successfully showed to the world that their model also works. And as China is doing now, you can see it has put even the West in some kind of fear. So we should compare those models before we think about the Make in India model. Because if it has to be a Make in India model, we have to really make it a model based on Indian ethos. And if you see how these countries succeeded, if we see the countries who not only brought science and technology to their nation, but preserved their own ethos, the Chinese ethos, even a small country like Israel, from whom we are borrowing defense technology, agriculture technology, and even medical technology. Just imagine a small nation who became independent and followed the Make in Israel model based on their ethos, the Hebrew ethos. So we have to take lessons, compare our notes with the Chinese model. They have not simply succeeded because they just imitated the West. They had their own model, and we should be very careful not to allow the Make in India model to be used by people who will make their goods and impose their model on our country, because that's not going to help us either in Indian ethos, nor in sustainability, nor in inclusive growth. You remember, India has more than 10 million youths who are looking for jobs every year. So to make it sustainable, we should have a job creating ecosystem. Not only create jobs for multinationals, but create jobs where the Indian system, the sustainability should have a kind of growth, inclusive growth, where we cater to the needs of the last man, the poorest man. And even he should get the benefit of this Make in India initiative. Not just the multinational, inviting a few foreign companies, multinational companies, so that they get advantage of the cheap labor here and the resources, is not the Make in India model. We had a detailed discussion with the AICT chairman, and also care will be taken to see that the Indian ethos is also incorporated. So I am very happy a lot of effort has been made. Especially I should be very thankful to S. Vyasa, who I should say is really following the Indian model of Indian ethos and Make in India and exporting this, as he mentioned. There is a great demand for our Indian indigenous knowledge systems in the world. And it is other companies, they have understood the value, like naturopathy, yoga. It is an international movement, it's not just an Indian movement. But they are taking advantage because they have better management capabilities, they handle it very nicely. So we have to see that our Indian knowledge systems are used to create jobs for Indians. We should not just become job seekers, but job creators for the world. And just like China has done, they have not imitated. You just see, I'm giving you just one example, how the Make in China model, because when we think of Make in India, we should compare our notes with Make in Japan, Make in Korea models. Small countries, smaller than ours, who had much later starts than us. India had a great history, a great knowledge system of 5,000 years old. And that's why I'm saying, if we had made Sanskrit the national language in 47, when we had that chance, in 49 there was a wonderful debate in the parliament, headed by none other than Ambedkar and also some of the great people like Naziruddin Ahmed, who said Sanskrit ought to be made the national language. Unfortunately, we missed that bus. And Israel did not commit that mistake. They made Hebrew the national language, and all the Make in Israel model is through the medium of Hebrew. Make in China is through the medium of Mandarin. That gave a certain vitality, a sustainability, a Chinese ethos or a Japanese ethos to their people, because that is more important. Indian ethos is more important than Make in India. We should not be used by the big corporations to make their goods and become prosperous. That is a great danger we should not fall into. And I'm happy that institutions like S. Vyasa are trying on a global scale to take this Indian ethos and make it economically, socially, and morally, and also spiritually sustainable. Because only one side we should not look, as he said, man making education, nation building education. What is a nation with making so many things in India without values, with values like corruption and moral integrity? If they are missing, they are the heart of our Indian ethos. And if that is missing, then all the Make in India initiative will only help other countries to make money at our expense. So we have to be very careful and see that there is this model, Make in India model is really, it works. I will just give you an example of how one Chinese school teacher challenged Amazon and eBay, and he did not just imitate what they did. He started his own model and he developed the Alibaba.com in China as an ordinary school teacher without any knowledge in IT or web-based education. He was just a translator. But he was fiercely patriotic. And he said, why should a foreign company deal in e-commerce, and Chinese people who are the biggest buyers like India are also the biggest buyers on Amazon and eBay. Why should they buy their own goods and the money should go to some other? So this kind of patriotism, it's not enough to bring Google into India, it's not enough to bring Microsoft into India and bring multinational companies and give them incentives and make them manufacture in India. That should not be our goal. We should create Microsofts in India, because the people who are working there are Indians. The CEOs of the top global corporations are Indians. If they can make those corporations great there, even the Google, Sundar Pichai is from Chennai. So all these people, if our task force, the people, that should be the theme of this seminar, that why not create such corporations in India? If an ordinary school teacher can create Amazon, if an ordinary person can create Sony Corporation, we should compare those models. We had a lot of discussion. We discussed how those countries develop their own, make in their own country models. Not just imitate the West. Our ethos, our needs, it should be need-based, not greed-based. That is one important thing. When Jamshedji Tata, I'm very happy that Professor Akhilesh is here, because this is one institution which is a real example of Make in India model, which was initiated by Jamshedji Tata when they both met on the ship on the way to Chicago. It was Swami Vivekananda who told him, and that was the result of our Jamshedpur steel plant and all the development which Tata has done. He said, why don't you have industries in India instead of buying them from foreign countries? He was a businessman, he was a trader. And even matchsticks we are importing from abroad. So why not manufacture them in India? And you will be surprised to know he understood the importance of Indian ethos so much. So Jamshedji Tata, when he was helped by the Mysore Maharaja, who generously gave him 400 acres of land to develop the campus there, the first thing he did, that letter is still there. If you go to the Indian Institute of Science campus, there is a letter written by Jamshedji to Swami Vivekananda, who was a spiritual leader of our country, to become the first director, to head the institution. Can you imagine how much Indian ethos Jamshedji could understand? Because he suffered. His own community, the Parsi community, they suffered because they neglected Zoroastrian teaching, the Zoroastrian culture, and they were driven out of their mother country, Iran. That's what happens when we neglect our culture, our Sanskriti. And our knowledge system, we should not be ashamed of anybody else. We have a knowledge system which is 5,000 years old. Whether it is political science, we have Chanakya, Arthashastra, Kautilya. I'm not saying modern advancement should not be taken, we should take consideration of those things also. Knowledge is always evolving. So yoga, Ayurveda, naturopathy, they should be developed, and we should develop that scientific spirit. That's the basis of this Indian Institute of Science and another institute which is not very well known, the Indian Association for Cultivation of Sciences, which produced the India's greatest scientists like Jagdish Chandra Bose, C.V. Raman, who got Nobel Prize. It was an indigenous institution, and that institution followed the Make in India model. But unfortunately, again, that influx of secular values which have destroyed our Make in India, Indian ethos. Unconsciously we did that. It's not that our national leaders were aware of that thing, but somehow we missed the bus like Israel did. Israel in 20 years converted their entire education system into Hebrew, and they have not suffered because of that. But we, Indian Institute of Science, Mumbai, has developed a lab for Sanskrit studies, where Malhar Kulkarni has shown that this is the most phonetic and scientifically perfect language, which could be an ideal platform for all types of IT platforms. Because the voice recognition, it's one of the most scientifically developed language, scientifically developed grammar, and phonetically one of the best languages in the world. So we should be proud of that heritage and try to scientifically see that it does not die away. Otherwise we will suffer the fate of Zoroastrians, the Parsis, who had to come to India. So Jamshedji knew the value of Indian culture. So he wanted a harmony between science and spirituality. So he asked Swami Vivekananda, that letter is still there, you can go to the campus and see that letter, it is framed there. He is asking Swami Vivekananda, of course Swami Vivekananda did not have time to become a director of an institution, but it is this institution which gave right to great scientists. C.V. Raman was its first director. So, Indian director. So we should see what is really this Indian ethos means, and I'm happy that the Dayanand Sagar University was few days ago initiated a program, thanks to the management, a program which will help us to develop this Indian ethos, that is known as Swami Vivekananda Contributor Personality Development Program, which we have tested in Gujarat Technological University, and wonderful work. If any of you are interested, you can see how the GTU Innovation Council is taking shape. How many patents are being filed by the young students? You can just visit that site, gtu.ac.in. And how ordinary diploma students, how many ordinary second tier, third tier college students are working wonderfully, trying to solve the socio-economic problems through technology, through management, through any field of knowledge, and including the humanities. We should never neglect these humanities. If China has become great it is because they supported and encouraged Mandarin language, which is their national heritage. They knew the entire wisdom. China will cease to exist the day they give up Mandarin. Similarly with France, you don't see any country following any foreign language to use. That's why in the beginning I said, I regret I have to speak in this language. So, time is still we still can make up for what we have lost all these 70, 60 years or so. And we can even revive now and try to revive that Indian ethos. I am very happy that I could share a few thoughts with you all, and this seminar which is going to discuss these issues, especially the Indian ethos, the sustainability, and our technology and all our skills, knowledge skills can create more jobs to be sustainable. 10 million jobs for youth. We have the biggest youth population, and if their needs are not catered to, we will be having a lot of problems socially, politically, and otherwise. So, creating jobs should be one of the main agenda, in this conference of Make in India, which will be there. Not creating jobs for big multinational corporations. We can create jobs when they come here. Naturally, jobs will be created. But better would be to create some institutions of global importance, global levels, which can challenge the biggest institutions. Alibaba.com has challenged Amazon. This is just one example I am giving you. There are countries like Israeli companies in defense technology which have challenged the best in the world. Israel is a very small country, and don't think it is only because they cultivated their indigenous culture of Hebrew, that fierce patriotism that we are the best in the world. Similarly with China. So we have to take lessons from all this great making their own country model and try to adapt it to our culture, our great history, which is the oldest and the best history as far as knowledge is concerned, secular or spiritual. And I'm sure if we follow the path laid out by Swami Vivekananda, was the pioneer, as S. Vyasa has done so beautifully in the field of yoga. There's several other fields. You can take up Arthashastra, you can take up naturopathy, you can take up even commerce and other things. Even technology, some of the technologies which were developed by our ancient pure sciences. These are all great fields. The science of language, the science of language-computer interface, for which Sanskrit is one of the best languages. So all these things gives lot of scope to our Indians to combine Indian ethos and make the Make in India initiative really useful, really significant, and make India a world power by the grace of Swami Vivekananda. Thank you.